السادة الكرام، نأمل منكم التفضل بالجلوس على مقاعدكم. سنبدأ بعد دقيقة من الآن. Our valued audience, please have your seats. We're starting in 1 minute from now. And this time for real. إذا ندعو الإخوة في خارج الصالة الانضمام إلينا. سنبدأ الآن. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه وآله وصحبه أجمعين. أصحاب السعادة، السادة الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أسعد الله مساءكم بالخير والمسرات، وأهلا ومرحبا بكم في حفل إطلاق شراكة النجاح بين أليتكو أدريس وستانلي سيكيورتي. وبكل تأكيد خير بداية لكل بداية آي من الذكر الحكيم.
لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإن تبدوا ما في أنفسكم أو تخفوه يحاسبكم به الله فيغفر لمن يشاء ويعذب من يشاء والله على كل شيء قدير. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير.
أيها الحفل الكريم، تحرص أليتكو أدريس على تقديم أفضل المنتجات وأجودها للسوق السعودي، ولذلك لم تدخر جهداً لجلب هذه العلامة التجارية الرائدة عالمياً في منتجات إكسسوارات الأبواب ذات المواصفات الأمريكية أنسي. والآن أتشرف بدعوة منسق الفعاليات المهنية لشعبة الإمارة للهيئة السعودية للمهندسين المهندس المستشار أحمد عصمة منصور من أجل الكلمة الافتتاحية نيابة عن هيئة المهندسين السعوديين، فرحبوا بسعادته إلى المنصة.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معكم مهندس أحمد عصمة منصور، منسق الفعاليات المهنية بشعبة العمارة بالهيئة. يسر الهيئة السعودية للمهندسين في إطار التعاون المشترك مع شركة أدريس للصناعة والتجارة أليتكو ومصنع ستانلي الأمريكي لإكسسوارات الأبواب بتقديم هذا الثمار بما فيه فائدة للمهندسين لمحاضرة إكسسوارات الأبواب المعدنية والخشبية بمرحلة التصميم والتنفيذ. وأشكر كل من ساهم في إخراج هذه المحاضرة: المهندس ناصر المالك رئيس شعبة العمارة وأعضاء شعبة العمارة بالهيئة، والمهندس هاني داوود منسق الشعب الهندسية بالهيئة، ومن شركة أدريس الأستاذ عبد الله عبد المحسن أدريس والأستاذ أسامة يحيى الذين ساهموا بفاعلية في تحضير هذه المحاضرة، متمنين أن يكون في ميزان حسنات الجميع. محاور المحاضرة كما هو كان بالإعلان اللي نزلته الهيئة: تعريف بإكسسوارات الأبواب، تعريف مفصل بإكسسوارات الأبواب ذات المواصفات الأمريكية، مقارنة بين مواصفات إكسسوارات الأبواب مصنع ستانلي ومواصفات الإكسسوارات الأمريكية، الربط بين مواصفات الإكسسوارات ومواصفات الأبواب لتحضير جدول الإكسسوارات أثناء التصميم والتنفيذ. بعد المحاضرة هيبقى في مناقشة مناقشات مفتوحة مع الحضور، بس هتبقى فقرة الأسئلة هتبقى وتوفير للوقت هتكون مكتوبة. يعني كل واحد اللي عنده أي استفسار أي سؤال هنجمع منه الورق ونديها للمحاضرين ويجاوب على الأسئلة. للعلم المحاضرة بتذاع الوقت حاليا على الهواء على الأونلاين على اليوتيوب. في على الطاولات موجود في استبيان للهيئة لكتابة أي مقترحات لدورات تدريبية أو محاضرات أو ندوات ستراعى في الفترة القادمة. أي اقتراحات عندكم محتاجينها، محاضرات، ندوات، ورش عمل، دي هنراعيها إن شاء الله في الهيئة، وإن إحنا في الفترة القادمة إن شاء الله نحاول إن إحنا ننظمها للمعظم الحاجات اللي أنتم بتقترحونها. بصفة عامة تابعونا، لأن من خطة الهيئة عدد دورات تدريبية هندسية ومحاضرات وورش عمل لمعظم بنود التشطيبات المعمارية. طبعا الاكسسوارات دي مهمة جدا. احنا قبل كده عملنا بردك مع الدريس مصنع الدريس، عملنا اللي هي كان محاضرة وورشة عمل عن الأبواب المعدنية، وكانت الحمد لله كانت ناجحة جدا. فاحنا بنكمل الأبواب المعدنية بالاكسسوارات، وبردك الاكسسوارات هتشمل الأبواب الخشبية. سابقا وأخيرا أو قبل الأخير في محاضرات وورش عمل احنا عملناها قبل كده، كان منها اللي هي مواصفات تصنيع الأبواب المعدنية ومخططات الورشة، دهانات الأبنية الخضراء عملناها قبل كده في شعبة العمارة في الهيئة، تجهيزات المعمارية والديكورات والأنظمة، لقاعات المحاضرات والمسارح، العزل المائي بين التوصيف والتنفيذ، وتطبيق نمذجة معلومات البناء البيم في المشروعات المعمارية. كلمة أخيرة من المفروض تكون في الأول، وهي شكر خاص للهيئة السعودية للمهندسين لمنح الأجانب فرصة للترشح بشعب الهيئة في منظومة أذهلتنا جميعاً، فكانت الترشيح والانتخابات عن طريق النت، والنتيجة في نفس يوم الانتخاب، والتي أنتجت ثمار هذه المحاضرة. كلمة أخيرة إن شاء الله، بعد المحاضرة هنقدر ممكن مع بعضنا نتعاون وناخد صورة جماعية دي عشان إن شاء الله ننزلها في موقع الهيئة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، وأهلا بكم ومرحبا.
شكرا جزيلا سعادة المستشار. وأيضا حتى لا أطيل عليكم نظرا لضيق الوقت، وقد نضطر لتأجيل المحاضرة بعد صلاة العشاء، لكن سيتم النقاش على ذلك الآن. سنستمع الآن للكلمة الافتتاحية عن مجموعة أدريس للصناعة والتجارة، يلقيها سعادة الأستاذ عبد الله بن عبد المحسن أدريس المدير التشغيلي للمجموعة، فرحبوا به إلى المنصة.
السلام عليكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أصحاب السعادة، حضرات الضيوف والزملاء الكرام، بالأصالة عن نفسي وبالنيابة عن إدارة وفريق عمل شركة أدريس للصناعة والتجارة أليتكو، يسعدني أن أرحب بكم في هذا اللقاء المبارك، والذي تحتفل فيه مجموعتنا بشراكة استراتيجية جديدة مع شركة ستانلي سيكيورتي سولوشنز، إحدى أكبر الشركات الأمريكية العاملة في مجال الحلول الأمنية المتكاملة. كما أتوجه بالشكر لجمعية المهندسين السعوديين على رعايتهم الكريمة لهذا اللقاء، فأهلاً وسهلاً بكم جميعاً. حرصت شركة أدريس منذ تأسيسها عام 1920 ميلادي على تقديم أعلى مستويات الجودة على مستوى المنتجات والخدمات، واستمرت في تطوير أعمالها عبر 95 عاماً، التزمت خلالها بتزويد السوق السعودية وأسواق المنطقة بأفضل معايير الجودة العالمية، التي تطلبت الانفتاح المبكر على العالم، والذي بدأ من ستينيات القرن الماضي، حيث انتهجت الشركة سياسة الشراكات الاستراتيجية مع كبار منتجي ومزودي القطاع الصناعي على مستوى العالم. الأمر الذي ساهم في النمو المتواصل لأنشطة المجموعة، وحتى شمل قطاع الخدمات البترولية والنقل والصناعات الإنشائية ومواد البناء وتجارة المعدات الثقيلة والمعدات الصناعية، بالإضافة إلى نشاط تجاري وتصنيع متقدم في القطاع الزراعي. وقد حققت شركة إدريس ولله الحمد خلال تلك المسيرة العديد من النجاحات، وحصلت على عشرات العضويات والاعتمادات والوكالات الحصرية، ودخلت في العديد من الشراكات والتحالفات، وحصدت حزمة من أبرز الجوائز والشهادات الجودة، كان من بينها شهادات الآيزو وإدارة الجودة الشاملة. واليوم وفي عصر التحالفات والاندماجات، تأتي شراكتنا الاستراتيجية مع ستانلي سيكيورتي سولوشنز لتؤكد تمسكنا بمنهجيتنا القائمة على التطوير وتقديم الأفضل. ونحن واثقون أن تضافر الجهود وتكامل الخبرات والمهام بين الشركتين سيكون له أثره البارز في رفض السوق والمشاريع الوطنية بحزمة من أفضل الأنظمة والحلول التقنية الأمنية. لقد التقت واتفقت قناعاتنا وقيمنا المشتركة على أن النجاح الحقيقي ليس في الوصول إلى الصدارة فقط، بل في المحافظة عليها. لذا فإن هدفنا المشترك مع ستانلي سيكيورتي سولوشنز هو الاحتفاظ بالريادة في مجالنا على المستوى الوطني ومستوى المنطقة بشكل عام. أكرر ترحيبي بكم وشكري لحضوركم وتلبيتكم الكريمة للدعوة، فأهلا وسهلا بالجميع، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شكرا جزيلا سعادة الأستاذ عبد الله. والآن أيها الحفل الكريم نشاهد سوية فيلما قصيرا عن ستانلي سيكيورتي.
Football Club Barcelona, Stanley Black & Decker, two giants of their respective fields, with shared ethos and vision, a common passion and commitment, both striving for perfection, never standing still. From our modest beginnings, we've gone on to conquer the world and beyond, branching out into new areas and taking every opportunity to build a better life for our fans, our customers, our staff. Yes, individually we have achieved much in our time, becoming a symbol of unity and fairness, and inspiring trust and commitment, both on and off the field. But now we come together fused as one in partnership. This is more than a club, more than a tool company, and more than a match for whatever tomorrow may bring.
En nombre del Fútbol Club Barcelona,
me gustaría darle la bienvenida
a Stanley Black & Decker and its associate brands to our family.
Gracias por vuestra confianza.
Bem-vindo ao Futebol Clube Barcelona.
Welcome to Football Club Barcelona.
Thank you, Stanley Black & Decker.
Gracias, Stanley.
gracias Black & Decker.
Gracias, DeVault.
Gracias Facom.
Thank you for your partnership.
Obrigado por fazer parte da nossa equipe.
إذن أيها الحفل الكريم، نستمع الآن لكلمة ستانلي سيكيورتي يلقيها السيد سوهاس برافو المدير الإقليمي للشرق الأوسط وأفريقيا، فرحبوا به.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Abdullah, for the opening address. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have you and Alitco family on board as our exclusive distributors in the kingdom for Stanley ANSI range of commercial hardware. A very good evening, gentlemen. It's indeed really a great honor to be in front and amongst the best architects and engineers from the kingdom who have converged today at this beautiful venue in Riyadh. Stanley Security is an integral part of the $11.3 billion US-based Stanley Black & Decker Group and represents approximately 20% of the company's total revenues. It's the world's #2 leading brand for commercial electronic security and has a global footprint, a comprehensive range of mechanical access and electronic security products, services and solutions, and enormous strategic potential, especially in the constructively booming markets like Saudi Arabia, among others in the Middle East. Our first success in the Middle East came in 2007 from the ANSI line of commercial hardware in this very promising market of KSA. It's been a great journey since then, serving many prestigious projects in the kingdom, especially under the education and healthcare verticals. Some of the key projects in the kingdom that are currently experiencing the high-quality ANSI products that Stanley provides are King Saud University, King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, Najran University, among many others. It has been an endeavor since long to work very closely with engineers, architects, and consultants, creating a worthy relationship, delivering value-engineered door access solutions on the most expansive projects within the education, government, healthcare, hospitality, and transportation verticals globally. We shall continue building such strong relationships with our engineering and architectural fraternity across the Middle East and Saudi Arabia. Our vision for the Middle East and African region is to be able to provide a world-class one-solution security architecture which will enable its customers to experience a tangible difference when it comes to security, mechanical or electronic. At Stanley Security, we build a world-class partnership with sustainable strategic characteristics that create exceptional shareholder value. Our staunch belief is that our strategic partners for ANSI commercial hardware, Alitco, is an organization that will make this vision of ours a reality very soon in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Once again, thanks to all of you for having made it here this evening, which I'm confident would be an interesting experience for one and all with my colleagues, Matt Scattle, the Global Projects Leader for ANSI Hardware, and Damir Husej Novik, the International Sales Support Associate, who have come all the way from the US to take you all through a sea of ANSI hardware experience. Thank you.
إذن أيها الإخوة الكرام، سنتوجه الآن لمدة ربع ساعة فقط لأداء صلاة العشاء. بإمكانكم الوضوء عند خروجكم من القاعة، هناك باب على يمينكم، ولأداء الصلاة هناك مصلى على يساركم عند خروجكم من هذه القاعة. إذن ربع ساعة من الآن، نعود بعدها لاستكمال المحاضرة ويليها مأدبة العشاء. إذن ندعوكم الآن لأداء صلاة العشاء، نعود بعدها مباشرة ربع ساعة فقط، نعود لنفس مواقعنا ونفس أماكننا. بإمكانكم الاحتفاظ بأغراضكم الشخصية هنا، ونعود لاستكمال المحاضرة. We will have a 15 minutes prayers break, and then we will continue our session in 15 minutes. You can keep your belongings here, except for mobile phones and wallets. Keep them here, and inshallah you will find them when you come back. الإخوة الكرام، ندعوكم للتفضل والانضمام إلينا في القاعة الرئيسية. سنبدأ بعد قليل من الآن. Our valued audience, please proceed to the main hall. We're starting shortly. أكرر، نأمل من الإخوة الكرام في خارج القاعة الانضمام إلينا. Our valued audience, we invite you to join us back. We're starting momentarily. Thank you. الإخوة الكرام، نحن على موعد الآن مع محاضرة عامة عن منتجات ستانلي يقدمها كل من السيد دامير هوسونوفيتش والسيد مات شورل، وسيتاح المجال لكم بعد المحاضرة لطرح الأسئلة بالعربية والإنجليزية، وسنقوم بالترجمة إذا تطلب الأمر لذلك. إذن رحبوا معي بالسيد دامير هوسونوفيتش والسيد مات شورل.
Test. There it goes. Is yours on?
Is mine on? Test.
It's not on. Is it up?
Hello.
Yeah, should be good.
Test.
Nope. Here. This won't work.
Oh, okay. It's going to be
difficult. This one.
All right.
It's fine. We'll make it work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, to begin with, I first want to express on behalf of all the Stanley employees worldwide appreciation for the hospitality and the friendliness that has been expressed to Demir and myself these few days while we've been here in Saudi Arabia traveling the country. It's been very hospitable, and we sincerely appreciate the friendships that we have made, and we look forward to developing more as the years go on. Who is Stanley? Well, Stanley is, of the major players in door hardware, Stanley is the only one that is based in the United States. We have very strong competition, very worthy competition from Sweden, Germany, and Ireland. Our company takes great pride in some of our basic core values on how we do business. Honesty is what we live by. Regardless of what the situation is or how much money it will cost, that is what we live by. We try to be honest in all of our dealings, with all of our products, and all of our literature. With that said, I've been asked to speak about ANSI, specifically ANSI Grade 1. This is an ANSI Grade 1 exit device, manufactured in the United States. That's Grade 1. Just because something meets ANSI Grade 1 does not mean it's worthy for the buildings you work on. ANSI Grade 1 to some companies is a goal. To others, it's a finish line. To Stanley, as it has always been and will always will be, ANSI Grade 1 is a foundation. We start at ANSI Grade 1. We go up from there. Without looking at the total project, the total product as a whole, it would be similar to you building a building of all concrete without any rebar. You have to look at a holistic approach to every device. This is the Stanley exit device, the Stanley Precision exit device. I'm not an angry American. We do not have a lab that does this. We bring it out to the engineers, to the locksmith, to the people that maintain the doors and the frames and the buildings that you built 20 years ago. That's what they do, because they have kids that do that. They have carts that do that. They have electrical and mechanical and equipment that are going through those openings, tearing up doors every single day. We think years out. When we do a project, we're thinking how it will hold up 30, 40, 50 years from now. That's one of the reasons why KAUST uses our products all the way through. All the academic buildings in KAUST, they're Stanley products. This is how we make things. Stainless steel. This is advertised as a stainless steel exit device. This is theirs, and this is aluminum. This is not stainless steel. Let's go to the next slide. Keep going. 10 million. 10 million cycles. There was a time when I thought 10 million cycles was totally unrealistic. And then I came to your airport, and I saw 9 billion people in line. And then I went to the malls, and I saw the other million. So 10 million cycles in this area is something very realistic. Very realistic. How do we go 10 million cycles? How does anybody go 10 million cycles? Well, keep in mind that 10 million cycles is not 10 million cycles of me jumping on an exit device up here. That's in a laboratory, so you've got to take that into effect. But there are certain components that make that device very strong, very durable, and very different than anything else. As I stated just a little while ago, we use true architectural finishes. If you ask for a stainless steel device, you are going to get stainless steel. You're not going to get powder coating that looks like stainless steel. You're not going to get aluminum. That's number one to begin with. We go to a low profile end cap, which I will show later in another slide. We build the device from end to end in the best possible way we can do it. A lot of these items up here, there are no ANSI tests for it. There are no such things as an ANSI grade 1 for this or an ANSI grade 1 for that. It is just the intent of ANSI. We go by the intent. We don't manipulate what the tests are required. We don't manipulate individual parts just to meet grade 1. The touch bar. The touch bar is a part where you put your hand, just like it sounds. Common sense would say ramp the touch bar with the flow of egress, so that when you're pushing a hospital gurney through that opening, you're not catching it on the hardware. You're not tearing it off the door. We don't know why, and we can't understand why somebody would ramp it in the exact opposite direction. But that's what some do. That little ramp, that deflection of the carts or the gurneys, or avoiding hanging up a military rucksack or a piece of clothing or a woman's purse, it's common sense in design. It's common sense to our engineers. That's why they do it the way they do. The touchpad itself. Keep going. Our touchpad is stainless steel, full stainless steel. We don't put on a snap-in piece that's stainless steel. And we certainly don't put on plastic like the one shown in the picture here. Why you would insist on a stainless steel lever, but then be okay to have a black Lexan touchpad is beyond me. Black Lexan touchpads will break off. They will leave rivets in the pads. You can get a non-black Lexan touchpad from that particular manufacturer, but you have to ask for it. It's not standard. It should be standard. Someday it will be standard. When enough people say, time out, ANSI grade 1 isn't good enough, we're looking at performance. We know you can do this. You are choosing not to do this. We are going to make you do this because that's the way it should be done. People put our trust in us, we're going to make the right decision. Next. Keep going.
Trying. There it goes.
The end caps. This is the part that's missing most frequently from exit devices when you see them. It goes across the end of the device, just like you would think. Like our touchpad, we ramp the end to deflect that equipment as it's going through the opening. There are manufacturers, and most manufacturers have seen the light on that, and they are doing the same thing. They will ramp the end cap. But then when it comes to the touchpad, they'll ramp it back in the opposite direction. Good.
Ready?
Another one. Internal components. This is kind of tough to talk about up here with such a large crowd because you really need to see all the parts that are inside of an exit device. There are manufacturers that use castings. There's manufacturers that use stampings. At one point, just about every manufacturer used a casting. They're very solid. You can do investment casting, which is very rigid, very durable, a little bit more expensive than a stamping, but in the end run, in the long term of the building, it's a cost savings. As you can see, this particular competitor, just about their whole internal mechanism case is a rolled steel or a stamped steel. They even have a stiffener that's not shown in that picture that goes vertically to help stiffen up that stamping. If you have to add in a stiffener for a part that's inside a device, then the part is probably under-designed and should be re-engineered. We went to castings years ago, and it's why, and it is one of the reasons that our device holds up so well in the US. If you look at the 5 largest school systems in the United States, this is the device they use. They've got crazy kids that are out of control, football players that are practically NFL players, and they are barreling through those doors. They don't walk, they run. They give the old hot karate and kung fu chops and everything else. It is very, very durable device, and you have to build it that way for the most difficult buildings. Good. Now I'm just going to bring up this slide because we saw some confusion between fire-rated devices and panic devices. In a nutshell, the only difference between a fire-rated device and a panic device is the fire rating. The fire rating means that the door was always latched, okay? A non-fire rated exit device, you can dog it down so it's a push-pull operation. And every manufacturer has the 2 devices. Most common is a rim type exit device, like this one here, where the latch bolt comes out of the end of the device. That is by far the most popular device worldwide. The disadvantage to that is that there is a strike that comes out, that's surface applied to the frame, and it kind of comes out into the opening. It doesn't look very pretty. It can catch clothes. There's places to use that and places you shouldn't use it. These are just some of the other advantages of that particular device, and you'll see a lot of these advantages are repetitive from device to device. In a hospital area, we have a lot of requests because of that gap between the chassis of the exit device and the face of the door. That gap allows dirt and dust that fall down on top of the device to continue to fall down to the ground. So you don't have a buildup of grime, dirt, dust, sand on the device. Where you have windows or glass in the doorway, that extra clearance allows you to mount across that vision glass, across that opening, without cutting into the molding or what they call the light kit that holds the glass in on the door. It makes it very easy for installation.
Ready?
The device that I use quite a bit in this region of the world, because of the clothing and also in hospitals, is the mortise device. Now, a mortise exit device, instead of the latch bolt coming out of the side, it comes out where the latch bolt would be in a doorway, or at a traditional lock. The advantage is it doesn't have the strike standing out off the frame into the opening. It's the same as a lock set. It's nice and clean, it's smooth. It's a few dollars more than a rim device, but in a lot of cases, it can be the better application. And that's what we're looking for, is the best application for that door in that particular building. Good. That's enough. Keep going.
Keep going.
Vertical rod exit devices. We have both narrow for an aluminum door, concealed, and surface applied. This is where we can get into a difference between manufacturers again.
You want me to show it?
Yeah. This is our vertical rod. Stainless steel. Almost solid, not quite, but a very durable unit. If you have a healthcare facility, it's a great idea. If you have to have the vertical rods exposed, to use a stainless steel rod, because once a rod gets bent by a cart, it will take the device out of adjustment forever. And once that device is out of adjustment, you cannot get it to latch properly. That could void UL codes, it could cause a life safety issue, it could cause a security issue. This is one of the competitors. It's aluminum. Go ahead and bend it. That's what you can get. That is grade 1 ANSI vertical rod exit device. When we talk about vertical rod exit devices, we use something called gravity. Where'd that latch bolt go?
Which one?
To latch our top latch bolt that was attached to that, the latch bolt.
Oh, it's right here.
Oh. Our competitor uses springs. Not just one spring, not just 2 springs, 3 different springs to counterbalance that latch bolt. Why make something difficult that it can be very easy? Why would you put in all those parts when you don't need to? You're increasing cost, you're increasing maintenance. Gravity doesn't fail. Design it correctly, and it'll work correctly.
Right.
Vertical rods we just talked about.
Yeah, I'm trying. That's just the conceal.
Now, when you get into concealed, there's a new development where some are using a cable instead of a rod. All I'm going to say is that I'm not going to say one way or the other about the cable versus a rod because it's relatively new. If it's a better system, I'll use it. It doesn't matter if it's ours or somebody else. My factory knows that my job is to use the best application for the product. That's the incentive they have to make sure they are building the best products. Keep going. Trim. Trim is what's referred to as the pull side of an exit device, the lever in most cases. There used to be a big difference in lever design. There's some manufacturers that for a long time used a flat 1/8 inch thick plate as their escutcheon. By demand of the architects and the consultants, everyone has gone to a forged escutcheon. They would not have done that if it wasn't for the architects demanding better quality. We've gone a little bit, a step above some of the others. And some of the other manufacturers have followed us, not all of them. With our lever design, with our lever trim, this cylinder that locks the door is completely flush or it's slightly recessed into that forged escutcheon. The reason why we do that is that an exit device, if you put a set of vice grips on the cylinder and you twist it off, you can take it off, you can break in. Exit devices are almost always found on exterior doors, the most vulnerable doors for vandalism and for break-ins. There is one manufacturer that with that lever trim, their cylinder sticks off this far. They can put a collar on it that spins, which will prevent putting vice grips or pliers on or a monkey wrench and twisting that off. But when you have a cylinder sticking out that far on the face of the escutcheon, you're asking for somebody to take a steel rod, a hammer, or other tool and just strike at it and beat it off. Just break it off, put your finger in there, flip the cam, and walk in. Good. Before I touch this part, go ahead and put up all the bullets. What I should mention with trim and finishes is it's a growing trend in the United States. In fact, in the past year, I have not had a project where we did not use this. Antimicrobial finishes. They're available from everybody. They're available from everybody. You should be using them all the time. It's a slight upcharge. They last forever. It is a smart way of doing things. Why would you not take the advantage of something that'll kill all the food that feeds those germs and feed that bacteria? It's a very small upcharge, something that's been around for several years. It's a good investment for the owner. Good. Access control systems. This is a relatively unique item in construction. It's unique because there are no standards. There are no standards because it's impossible. The technology is changing every 6 months. By the time we had developed a standard, it's out of date. It's very difficult to get a standard for access control systems. You have to design it around a system. There are some things you can require, though, not just from me, but from everybody, is open architecture. 10 years ago, very few people offered an open architecture access control system. And what that means is, if you don't have an open architecture and you get an access control system and you hate it, you have no choice. You have to continue using that system. And in some instances, you have to continue using that supplier. He could be the worst supplier in the world. You're stuck with him. That trend has slowly changed. And it's changed by, again, owners requiring open architecture. You can take most access control systems, most popular access control systems, and intermix. You bought this system. He's not living up to his contract. You tell him you're going to move. Live up to your contract, we're going elsewhere. You can go elsewhere, and you can put in another system and join the two together in a seamless fashion, if you get open architecture. The access control systems, there are so many things that you can do with them. So many things. We have the worldwide contract for a store called Walmart. We've taken our motion sensor to our automatic door operator, and we tied it into our security system. So every time somebody enters that store or exits that store, we're turning on the security camera and we're recording it. You would not believe how many people fall down in front of an automatic door trying to sue a store. We cut their liability by so much, it was just unfathomable that there was that many people trying to sue an owner of a store, a retail store. With access controls, if you have a building and you need assistance on, we can help you. We will help you. I have just finished working on some major high security projects back in the US. I can come to your facility, I can come to your office, or I can talk to you on the phone or talk to you over email. I can't cover everything in one night. I couldn't cover everything in a week. Everything has switches, and it's just a matter of just arranging switches and getting the components correctly and getting the right components and doing the mathematics to make sure the amp draw and things like that are correct. When you get to that point, if you get to that point, let us know. We will help you. Go ahead. keep going. All right, that finishes with the exit devices in a very broad sense. We're now moving to lock sets. In this part of the country, or this part of the world, you're very fortunate that your trend is to use mortise locks. Mortise lock is by far the best lock you can use. Doesn't matter what manufacturer. A mortise lock is the best lock you can use. It's a larger pocket. It takes more of an impact to break into the opening. They're more durable. Back in the US, we are constantly fighting people who want to use cylindrical locks where they should be using mortise locks. Over here, it's so refreshing that everybody wants the high quality product. When you get a Stanley Best lock set, it comes to the contractor just like this. Everything neat and orderly in a box, separated so we can see if anything is missing. If something is missing, he sees it right away. Our major competitor, this is how it comes. Loose springs, multiple gaskets, there are multiple components that you have to put together yourself. Next slide. Like our exit device, our lock set by far exceeds ANSI grade 1, by far. In fact, there is a test called the attack test, attack vandalism, like just attack test. Basically, yep. You take a 35-pound hammer. What's that, 17 kilos? Yeah. Basically, you take a sledgehammer and you impact the front of the door. If you can hit it 10 times, if it gets hit 10 times and remains latched, it passes. Ours goes beyond 10. It goes beyond 25. It goes further than any other lock out there. If you're going to have a break-in at your facility, realistically, and it's at a lock set, it's not going to be by somebody picking a lock or coming in with a drill and drilling through a lock. It's going to be somebody striking the lock or coming in with a powered grinder trying to grind through and cut through the lock itself. The impact test is a very good indicator of how strong that lock is internally.
Explain it, universal.
Go up, next slide.
The universal. The functions.
One of the advantages we have, and a few other manufacturers have this as well, is you can change lock functions and hands in the field, which is nice for a contractor. You can make a change from a door. We change this door from right hand to left hand. You don't have to order new hardware. In fact, you can change the handing without even opening up the lock body. You can just use a screwdriver. It's one step where we take the latch ball out, flip it around, and it's done.
11 functions.
Yeah, just keep going. Next. The one-piece latch bolt. This is our latch bolt, right here. It's solid stainless steel. It doesn't have a plastic insert like our competitor does. It's not built in 3 pieces. We have 50% more material. That's 50% more material that somebody has to grind through with a grinder to break into your building. It's probably more expensive than this, but it's the right way to do it. Go ahead.
One more.
Item number 2, and everybody has this, but I'm just pointing it out so that you realize it. The auxiliary bolt. When that auxiliary bolt is pushed into the lock when the door is closed, all it does is it locks that latch bolt so it can't be pushed in from a credit card or pushing it, drilling a hole through the frame and pushing it in with a screwdriver or something else. The armored front. The armored front is this piece right here. Believe it or not, there are a lot of manufacturers that no longer have that. They all used to have it. They got rid of it. Probably because it costs about 15 cents. This is an example of one without an armored front. This is it right here. They put the decorative plate across it and you never know. You don't know it because you don't see it. The presence of that armored plate is the reason why you can take a sledgehammer and hit the front of that lock 25 times, as opposed to hitting it 10 times.
Back.
Screws. Not coming up. Number 4. Additional case screws. Sounds like a silly item. But yes, having an additional fastener on that lock body secures the face of that lock, keeps it rigid, and disperses the stress evenly across the body of that lock. One extra screw can make a big difference. Go ahead. Five is the hub. This hub right here prevents your lever from sagging. If your lock is installed correctly the first day, that lever will not sag. We have a spring that holds that hub in. It's so you don't have tension pressing down on a spring all the time. When ADA first came out 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, the biggest problem we had with locks is sagging levers. Because what the manufacturers did was take off a knob and put on a lever. They didn't change the spring design. There's an awful lot of torque in a lever. With a lever hanging out the side, you can also get a lot of leverage. Stick a bar in there and bend it down. We have locks that'll take over 1,000 foot-pounds or 1,000 pounds per square inch of torque, of pressure, before they snap. Even if you put a bar on our lever and you cranked it down, it is designed that the outside lever will give way first. Even if they break off that lever, they still will not get in. There is a weakened point in the spindle, they call it, where it goes into the lock that'll snap off. If that happens, there's a kit that pulls out that spindle and puts the spindle back in. You don't have to replace the lock if somebody tried to break into your building. You just have to replace one piece, one small piece that would be given to you if you had a break-in. That is not the case with all manufacturers. It is with us. Six is the indicator. It's a little locking toggle right here. It's more of a nicety. It's a convenience for someone to know if their door is locked or unlocked. They can go into the office without moving their keys around from side to side, wondering, is my door locked? Is my door unlocked? Do I need to have my key to lock the door? Can I just send somebody up and say, hey, flip the switch and close my door and so my items are secure? It's just a little convenience that we put in there for the owner. Go ahead. The lock case. It's .095, about 13 gauge thickness. The difference is it is not a stamping. It is a rolled steel. And as you know, when you roll steel, you get an extra strength out of that steel. Other manufacturers can use a higher gauge steel, but if they stamp it, they're still weakening the actual steel. You're creating the weak points on that lock case. Go ahead. Fusible link. This is something every manufacturer has. You can't sell it if you don't have it. Basically, as the lock heats up, a fusible link melts, makes the lock inoperable. At that point, everyone's dead because of smoke anyways. It just prevents the fire from spreading from one area to the other area. In a building, when you have a fire, you have extremely high winds that come through. Like I said, everybody's got it. It's just a standard feature.
There it goes.
The hub toggle is something you're probably never going to have to know about. It's something I have to know about and something specifiers need to know about. It has more to do with operation of the lock itself. It can tell you if it's locked, unlocked, locked by key, and so on. Good. The changing of the lock, we're just going to go through these clips very quickly. But basically, you take a screwdriver, you insert it in that slot. Go ahead. Take the screwdriver, you insert it in the slot, put a little leverage on it. It releases the stainless steel latch bolt. You pull the bolt out, you turn it 180 degrees, the spring pulls it back in, and you're done.
There's a delay.
Changing the hand, just very easy step as well. You just move a screw around and you're all set.
The hub toggle.
Warranty. This is interesting. Did you know there's manufacturers that when they sell a product in Saudi Arabia, they offer a 1-year warranty? But when they sell the same product in the United States, it's a 25-year warranty? Same manufacturer, same product, different warranty. Our mortise lock is a lifetime warranty. It doesn't matter where in the world you put it. It could be up in Alaska, it could be on the South Pole, it could be in the desert, it could be in the tropics. The warranty for the Stanley Best mortise lock is a lifetime. We make it a lifetime because it's built to last a lifetime. And as far as I know, we're the only ones that offer a lifetime lock warranty. Eventually, others will. We hope they will, because it's much easier for us to compete against another manufacturer when they have similar quality. When they have similar quality to us, then it's an even race. And we don't mind competing, we don't mind racing. We hate to race when we have to race against quality and they only have to race against price. As it happens from time to time, you'll need a lock set with a push button access to get into an IT room or something like that, something that's a standalone. We have those devices. We've had them for years. We can have 50 individual users with pins. Very common application. Nothing special.
We're on the 9Ks now.
What's that?
9K.
Okay, this is the 9K. This is a cylindrical lock. In the United States, the 9K lock is viewed by the majority of end users, the best Stanley 9-cane cylindrical lock is viewed as the best cylindrical lock manufactured. Some people feel that our cylindrical lock is better than other people's mortise lock. I would still prefer you use the 45H series lock and not the cylindrical lock. If you start going down using cylindrical locks, it's going to be a race to the bottom. It's going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, because that's what's going to be the topic of discussion, is the price. If you stay with a mortise lock, ours or anyone else's, it's easier to defend quality, that you're trying to build a quality project. You're building $100 million. We're not interested, $100 million building. We're not interested in trying to save $700 on door hardware. In the US, we did a comparison on a project, a 22-story building. And again, these are US prices. The difference between the highest quality product of hardware and the mediocre level of quality hardware was the difference in a dumpster rental for 1 week. We could rent a dumpster for 1 week for what we saved in hardware. That hardware is going to be on that building for 50 years. Do we really want to save the price of a dumpster for a week? It's not that big of an item. In fact, overall, doors, frames, and hardware make up less than 1.5% of a total building's budget. In the US anyways. Over here, it's probably even less than that, because you guys have beautiful architecture. You can't get someone in the US to fork out the money to build the beautiful buildings you guys have. Ours are square and rectangular. They're nothing compared to what you see around here.
Good teacher. Ready to go on?
That's it. Keep going.
You want me to take over?
What?
You want me to take over or you want to keep going?
Yeah. Yeah. What's the next one? Just flip to the next one, we'll flip.
Okay. Closer. If you want to keep going, you
Okay,
can.
I'll do
You're on a
closers.
roll.
Okay. That,
Oh, of course.
that takes care of the locks. Now we're going to go to what we are really known for. We've been doing it for 88 years. 80% of the military bases the United States owns worldwide use this system. It's not just the product, it's the people behind the product, the people in Indianapolis that do the record keeping. We've done nuclear facilities with this system. I've done hundreds of military facilities, including some right here in Saudi Arabia, with that system. Products are great, but when it comes to master keying and record keeping, it's all in the people at your factory. You could call up Stanley Best in Indianapolis with a project that was built in the 1960s and say, we lost the key to building 101. They will have that combination for you. They will have that record. And we don't keep it on the cloud. And we don't keep it on the internet, because everybody knows what happens. We've all heard of credit cards being stolen. We know it because it's money. How many master key systems have been stolen that we don't know about because it's not a big issue? We don't know. Maybe none of them have. But why take that risk? By the way, the charge for us to master key your facility is $0. It does not cost you a penny. It does not cost you any money for us to come in, to set up your master key system, to talk to you about security, to give you a list of combinations for your building, to give you an expanded list for if you want to double that building. The price of that service is already in the lock. It's impossible to estimate the amount of labor needed to do a building, so we can't include that in a price list. It's just a price that we absorb internally for doing business. And it's always the way it's been. Now I'm going to turn it over to Demir Demir works in our plant in Indianapolis. He's in charge of international. He is very educated in master key systems and how they work and what to do and what not to do. Demir?
Yep. I'll just take this one. Good. Here's this. Okay, good luck with it. As Matt was saying, this was started off by Best in 1920. That's where we started off with everything. Like I said, even we don't just do locks themselves or exit devices. A lot of people don't know that we can master key their cabinets, pretty much anything that can take a key in your building. You can have one key if you want to operate every single thing that can take a key in your building.
Louder.
We have different cylinders for every function that you need. Anything and everything we can do.
Louder.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
A little bit louder.
This is our padlocks. We do quite a bit here in Saudi Arabia, especially with Aramco, and we offer it more of a, you can't get it with the best logo, but we do have the option of having any logo that a customer wants or requests. You can send it in to us. We can send it on and make sure it's approved. Or if there are any changes that need to be made, we'll let you know. And it's only a one-time charge, and then from there on, you can use it as much as you want on your padlocks, also on our keys themselves. You do not have to have the best logo on the cores or padlocks. Whatever you or your customer requires can be managed. Going into our new system that we invented was the CoreMax system. This is pretty much what we're recommending to all of our customers right now, as there is no additional charge. Same price as our standard. You're gaining a lot more security just by using our CoreMax system. It is patented in the US till 2027, so there's no other competitor that has the same technology for the same price. Go on to the next one. This is actually how the technology itself works. The core itself has a pin on the inside that is retracted when the key is not in there, and there's a special slot on the keys themselves. And once it is inserted, it'll push the pin out, which allows you to spin or operate the door. And once that key is retracted back, the pin will go back inside. So also helps a lot of security. Even drilling, the pin will stay in, will not operate if the pin is in that slotted position. Again, like I said, nobody else can order this through Stanley unless they're an authorized dealer. So there's no way of competitors or anybody else. Once it is in the system, it can only come through Stanley. Going into our master key, like Matt stated, that no extra charge. We can do from 10 doors to 10,000 doors, whatever you require, no additional charge, no matter how many doors or how difficult the project is. Yes, it might take us additional time if it's a large or difficult project, going back and forth and making sure that we get what the customer needs, and also we want to make sure that it is delivered correctly, because if we have any issues with master key, then we can have all kinds of problems and we might have to even come back and redo it. That's why we always try to make sure with the customer and us that everybody's aligned and it is presented correctly the first time. This is just how a breakdown will work. You know, you have your control and your grandmaster, then you can break it down to masters, submasters, sub-submasters. We can even do direct to grandmaster or masters. If there's a specific person that, like a janitor, if they need to get into all the masters, you don't want to give them 5 different masters. You could do it direct and just give them that one key and it'll open all the buildings. Keystone 600, we offer this to our customers. This is mostly for some of our big customers like schools, universities, hospitals, somebody that has a local locksmith on site. they can use this and coordinate with our system in Indianapolis and manage their own codes, combinate their own cores, cut their own keys, and only thing we request is for them to every 3 to 6 months send us an update on their codes. That way we can manage and we have them backed up for them in case there's ever a fire or their system goes down. We still have copies of everything that they've cut, they've prepared. So it definitely is a big advantage, especially if you're dealing with turnover, a lot of turnover. You don't want to have to redo the master key system every time there's a turnover in a building. Going into our closers pretty much similar to all of our competitors. It is forged, easy installation, all-weather hydraulic fluid, so there's no issues between climate change. You should not have, once it is installed, as long as it's installed correctly, you should not have to make any changes or any maintenance to it. This is just the different options we have on the proper installation and proper use of the door closer itself. We have seen customers place the door closer incorrectly, and then a month later they're coming back to us asking why is it not working correctly? Well, if you follow the template that came with it, it helps with the installation. Too fast. Go back one. Go back one. Whoop. Back one more.
It's not going back.
Heavy construction, no matter which one you get, you're gonna get the best. We do offer the 1600 series, which is used a lot here in Saudi Arabia. Very good closer. And we do go up to our 4550 and our 3550 series for even more heavy duty, just depending on what the application is needed. Go ahead. This is just some of the accessory options that we offer. Same as pretty much every competitor. This is the arm that we have. This is comparable pretty much to every competitor. They all use this pretty similar arm, not many different changes. We do have one closer to show. This is our closer, and this is a competitor's closer. If you look at it, there's really no difference at all. But there is a price difference. Our closer comes standard with delayed action. Competitors, they charge you extra for delayed action. So you're looking at a $20, $30 more upcharge for the same thing. We'll get into our Stanley hinges. Pretty common to our competitors. You can go ahead to the next one. You can go ahead to the next one.
Yeah.
Right here. This is our FEB, which is our ball bearings, what we consider it. It's dual bearing. The oil is actually compressed into the bearings. It just helps with the smooth transition of it. We will have samples here afterwards if anybody would like to check out some of the Stanley hinges themselves. They're pretty very good quality. You're never really going to have any issues with snagging, nothing. Some competitors, you'll get the hinge and you got to pry it open. You're never going to have that issue. They're made very, very, very durable. No issues, no leaking. The pins won't rise on you. And this is our conceal bearing. We're starting to use these a lot more and more, especially in big projects. A lot of our architects like it because it's a lot more sleek look. You're not having the bearings showing themselves. Just makes for a lot cleaner look when it's on the door itself. You don't have the bearings sticking out. If you ever have any issues, if you look at some of the doors If the bearings start going out, they start collapsing, they'll start leaking. You can have all kinds of problems. So the concealed bearing is very, very common now, and it's getting more and more. Not much of a price difference between the concealed and the ball bearing. Special situation products, we do offer them electrified, any kind you want. I do recommend ordering as many wires as it comes with, not just 6 wires. Order it with 10 wires. In case there's an installation issue, you can always wrap the other wires and not use them, but if there's an installation issue, you always have extra wires to use. So I always recommend ordering with more wires, save you a lot of headache. You skipped the conceal switch. Go back one.
Continuous hinge?
Go back one. Forward one. This is our concealed switch. You can have this even with the electrified or just separate. Also use, if you want to monitoring to a door or a security system, it just helps you coordinate if the door has been open, unlocked. So you can use it by itself or with electrified. This is just a comparison or show you how our full service continuous hinges work. We do have samples we can show you.
Door sagging.
Yeah, this is the door sagging. Put in your markers, make sure the door is nice and straight, and then we'll apply and we do offer it also in mortise. What are we into now? Stanley YQ, I'm going to hand this over back to Matt. He specializes in the YQ system, and this is definitely something we want to roll out into Saudi Arabia market.
Thank you. Before I move on to the YQ, if you don't think that hinges fail, if you go into the men's room, both doors have broken hinges on them. Bearings that are flattened and bearings that are gone. With the Stanley hinges, it's a lifetime warranty. Going into the Stanley YQ. The YQ is something that's relatively new to Stanley. Relatively, I mean in the past 10 years. It is a wireless access control system. It would be wonderful in this environment because you build buildings so fast and there's so much masonry that you don't have time to run conduit through walls.
Ready?
It's very similar, very simple idea. It's a battery-powered lock. It uses a gateway or router, just like your wireless laptop does. In fact, it could use the same router as your wireless laptop. We've used it in the United States for quite a while. In fact, there's a military base about 120 kilometers from where I live, where we've got over 250,000 of these locks. We got them on all the military dorms. We can do an audit trail of every soldier or every person going in that opening. We don't have to run wires. It's very easy if you have an existing facility, such as a new building that now they're thinking about access control system. Very easy to put it in there. The programming is easy. You put the battery in and it's on. It's running. It will self-program most of the items that you need to have installed. The advantages we have to similar systems out there is number one, our battery pack. Our batteries are standard retail over-the-counter batteries. If you look at other manufacturers, once you get their system, their batteries are about 10 times the price of standard batteries. The other additional advantage of our system is that we use 802 protocol. Now, 802 protocol means that we're sending a signal over a bandwidth that is rarely used. Very few items operate at that level. Most of them are like at 600. So what that means to you is that by having this system in your facility, we're not slowing down your other components in that building. You won't even know we're there. That's the system. A router and a lock and a software. And you don't need a computer just for us. We can put it on the computer you have. It does not take up a lot of space. Next to this photograph, you'll see a standard hardwired system. You'll have remote logic boards located either above a ceiling or in a security closet or in a janitor's room or a water closet. You'll have your card reader that you'll have to run conduit down to, along with a junction box that will have to be cut into the wall. You'll have to have a request to exit switch. Well, why do you have to have a request to exit switch? Because software doesn't know if somebody's breaking into a room or coming out of a room without somebody telling it. If you use our system, you push down on the inside lever, it'll tell you somebody's leaving that room. If somebody's putting a key in the outside, it will tell you it's a key, it's not somebody on the inside. Other electrified lock sets do not have that ability. Some manufacturers put that request to exit switch on the latch bolt. Now what that does is, anytime somebody has stolen a key and they go into that opening, the access control system is telling somebody, yes, the door is opening, but it's somebody leaving. You will never know that you have a stolen key unless somebody sees somebody walking into that room who should not be walking into that room. Our system was one of the first, if not the first, with the open architecture. We can take Indala, we can take HID, we can take any system, any major system that's out there, and it'll work with our system. We work with almost all of the major software manufacturers for security devices. We do more than just doors when it comes to that security. We can do all of the access points that are typically controlled, whether they're pedestrian gates, traffic gates, outside guard towers that are outside the facility, or any of the rooms inside. As long as we're getting a signal, that's all we need. It's just a switch.
Good.
When you do, like the other access control system, a hardwired system, the wireless system does need to be engineered by somebody who knows the system. If you were to call in somebody from Best or somebody from Aldrees, we could look at the plans and say, you're going to need a portal gateway there. We could look at the wall construction and say, you're probably going to need one there. So that when you get out to the site, the material gets supplied, everything is there that you need. You don't have to run back and forth, you don't have to second guess. You put it in, you turn it on, you educate the owner, you program the cards, you're done. If you have a hardware system and you want to expand and go with the wireless, that's fine. We can program the hardwired into our wireless and vice versa. There is not a configuration that we cannot do that I know of. Just some of the items, some of the major items. Keep going.
Do it.
124-bit. Everybody's pretty much coming up to 124-bit. I expect we'll probably be above that before too long, but right now that's the standard. That's the norm. Well, not the standard. That's the norm. Go ahead.
We're good there. We're done.
Okay. Well, that concludes our portion, and I'm very grateful. We are very grateful for your attention. I hope we didn't speak too quickly. I hope everything gets translated correctly. If I offended anybody, please accept my apologies. If you have any questions, Aldrees is here. We are here. Demir flies out at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I could stick around extra days for meetings or anything else.
Also, if you have any questions on the products themselves, or like to see the comparisons, also, or if you want to see how we do the changings in the handings, also the changing on the exit devices. Also, we can change the function on the exit device from 03 to 08 storeroom entrance. They can all be changed. They come like that from the factory. If you want any other explanations on products themselves or any assistance that you might have, just let us know. We'll be glad to show you.
Do we open the floor for discussion? Question Q&A?
It's okay with me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actually behind time, so what do you think?
Okay.
No, I
think we shouldn't do
yeah,
it, right?
no.
No questions.
Yeah,
If you have questions, they can
wrote
ask.
them
They can
down.
come up after the meeting. They
Yeah,
can come
we
up to
can
us personally.
talk to us in
إذا
here.
الإخوة الكرام نظرا لضيق الوقت بإمكانكم طرح الأسئلة مباشرة عند الالتقاء بهم عند تناول طعام العشاء، لكن الآن تنتهز الفرصة شركة ستانلي سيكيورتي لتقديم درع تذكاري. We're talking about the plaque which he will present. لتقديم درع تذكاري لشركة إدريس للصناعة والتجارة أليكتو يقدمه السيد أمبو. I invite Mr. Ambo to decorate سعادة الأستاذ عبد الله أدريس لتقديم درع تذكاري لسعادة الأستاذ عبد الله أدريس. Would you like them to be in the background? Would you like to do it there in the middle?
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Ambo, Regional Manager of Stanley Mechanical Solutions for MENA. It's been a privilege and honor to be a part of this seminar. Hope you all have enjoyed this evening. And we thank everyone who has come here to be a part of this success story of Aldrees and Stanley. This evening, we would like to present 2 awards. The first award to Aldrees Industrial and Trading Company, Alitco. And may I request Suhas Prabhu, the Regional Director of Stanley Security, to come onto the stage. And I request Mr. Abdullah Aldrees to please come forward and accept the award from Mr. Suhas Prabhu, Regional Director of Stanley Security, to mark the beginning of a winning partnership between Aldrees and Stanley in KSA. The second award is Golden Falcon Award for 2014 to Mr. Osama Yahya for his stellar performance for the growth of Stanley ANSI in KSA. That's all from Stanley. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. إذن أيها الإخوة الكرام نعتذر عن الإطالة عليكم، والآن ندعوكم لتناول طعام العشاء المقدم في القاعة على يساركم. تفضلوا على الرحب والسعة وعلى دروب الخير. وقبل ذلك ندعو الإخوة لصورة جماعية. إذا ندعو الإخوة المهتمين للحصول على صورة جماعية. Gentlemen, we are inviting you for a group photo. So Stanley presence is gonna be, it's optional. It's optional. Sorry?
There you go. You should hold that up. You should hold up.
شوف عينك